In the quiet village of Udogbi, surrounded by dense forest and a winding red sand road that connected it to the outside world, lived a young woman named Omoteje. She was known across several villages for one thing: her beauty was unmatched, and her hands worked magic on hair. People traveled from far and near just to get their hair braided by her. They said her touch was gentle like moonlight, and her creativity flowed like the river Ethiopia itself. But every blessing comes with a shadow. And Omoteje's shadow came in the form of envy. As Omoteje's fame grew, so did jealousy. The village's most influential woman, Mama Eremina, whose daughter also ran a salon, began to feel threatened. Customers ignored her daughter's shop and flocked to Omoteje's. Rumors started to spread, first quietly, then loudly, then violently. One day, the village chief's son fell mysteriously ill. He complained of headaches, then began hallucinating. Some said he was running mad. Traditional medicine failed. Mama Eremina seized the moment like a lioness spotting a wounded prey. She pointed straight at Omoteje and shouted, "It is her. Omoteje has used witchcraft on the boy. After all, she is too beautiful, too talented, too loved. It is not ordinary." Fear spread like wildfire. In the kind of small village where gossip becomes prophecy, and prophecy becomes judgment, people needed someone to blame. And Omoteje became that sacrifice. They dragged her from her shop. She screamed, cried, begged, but no one listened. Even her closest friends hid in fear. That night, the elders held a quick judgment. No evidence, no questioning. Just fear. They declared her a witch. And in Udogbi, the punishment for witchcraft was death. Not by hanging. Not by poison. But by burial. Alive. They carried her to the evil forest, the same place they took criminals and banished souls. The earth was damp, the night cold, and the moon hidden behind clouds. They tied Omoteje's hands, ignored her tears, and pushed her into a shallow grave. Her voice echoed, "I am innocent. I have done nothing. Please. I beg you." But earth began to fall on her. First gently. Then with force. Her screams faded. Her sobs quietened. Her heartbeat slowed. Then stopped. Or so they thought. Omoteje opened her eyes in darkness. She could not breathe. She felt the weight of the soil pressing against her chest. But before she could struggle, a cold wind swept through the earth. A voice whispered in the soil, "The innocent do not die without justice. The wrongfully buried do not sleep forever." A pale blue light appeared before her. The voice continued, "You will rise. But not the same." Something icy entered her veins. Her body stopped feeling human. Her heart began to beat backwards, slow, heavy, unnatural. With one push, the soil exploded upward, and Omoteje crawled out of the earth like a newborn from the womb of death. But her eyes were no longer brown, they glowed with a faint blue light. Her skin was pale but flawless. Her hair flowed like black water. She stood in the forest, silently. Alive, but not living. Awake, but not human. When Omoteje walked into the village at dawn, people screamed and ran. Women carrying water dropped their buckets. Children cried and hid behind their mothers. Some shouted, "Spirit! Ghost! She has come to kill us." But Omoteje smiled softly. A smile too calm. Too cold. She said nothing. She simply walked. Her feet didn't leave footprints. Her body didn't cast a shadow. She passed her old saloon and watched it burn in her memory. The villagers had destroyed it the same night they buried her. But she kept walking to an old abandoned store near the market square, once owned by a traveling seamstress long dead. There, Omoteje opened a new shop. She painted it bright pink with palm oil mixed with dye. She hung mirrors everywhere, each one reflecting her glowing eyes. She named it Salon of Rebirth. Nobody dared step inside at first. Until the first girl entered. Her name was Edrin, a beautiful slay queen who had just returned from Warri. She didn't believe in village superstitions. Go school. Abeg make I rest jaw. She's alive. All of you are just dramatic. She wanted to prove a point, and get a beautiful wig fixed. Omoteje welcomed her with a smile that seemed soft but carried hidden storms. She touched Edwin's hair, just once. And Edwin shivered. By the next morning, Edwin began to feel dizzy. That afternoon, she collapsed. The following day, she began screaming that shadows were chasing her. And by nightfall, she ran mad. Edwin was the first. But she wasn't the last. As weeks passed, more girls rushed into Omoteje's salon. Her skill had grown even more magical, braids smooth like silk, wigs flawless, edges on fleek, curls bouncing like newborn springs. She made every girl look like a goddess. But every single one of them fell ill, collapsed, died, or ran mad. The pattern was clear, yet no one could resist. The beauty Omoteje gave was irresistible. Even those who feared her found themselves drawn in. Her salon became the hottest place in Udogbe. Every day, slay queens in miniskirts, jeans, crop tops, and Ankara jumpsuits swarmed her shop, posing for selfies, snapping TikTok dances, gossiping and looking porn, not knowing they were dancing with death. People whispered, "Her beauty is a trap. Anyone she touches, the spirit she brought from the grave will follow." Still, the queue outside her shop never ended. Omoteje kept a small wooden bowl behind her mirror. Inside were the names of everyone who betrayed her, those who watched her burial and said nothing. Every night, she whispered the names one by one. And every morning, someone from that list fell sick mysteriously. Sometimes their hair fell off. Sometimes they screamed in their sleep. Sometimes they never woke up. The villagers knew what was happening. But fear locked their tongues. Mama Eremina, the woman whose jealousy caused all this, was the last on the list. One evening, she walked into Omoteje's salon trembling, knees weak, eyes filled with regret. "Omoteje, my daughter. I beg you, forgive me. I did not know." Omoteje placed her hand on her shoulder gently. "Sit." Mama Eremina sat. "Let me make you beautiful one last time." She braided her hair slowly, each twist filled with cold anger and buried pain. When she finished, she kissed Mama Eremina on the forehead. "For the grave you put me in." That night, Mama Eremina scream tore through the village like thunder. By morning, she was found outside her house, hair completely white, eyes open but lifeless. Fear gripped Udogbe. No one dared speak her name again. Omoteje had completed her revenge. One morning, she closed her salon. She locked the door, took the key, and walked toward the forest. Villagers watched her from afar, but nobody dared follow. She reached the same spot they buried her. A wind blew. She looked up at the sky and whispered, "My spirit has done what my flesh could not." A blue flame surrounded her. And just like smoke carried by the wind, Omoteje vanished. Some say she returned to the spirit world. Some say she still walks at night, touching the hair of vain young girls. Some say if your beauty is mixed with jealousy, if your heart aches for evil, if your hands harm the innocent, Omoteje will appear behind you and whisper, "I have come to braid your hair." 4 months after Omoteje vanished into the wind, Udogbe village lived in trembling peace. People whispered her name only in darkness. Mothers warned their daughters, "Do not gossip about others. Do not be jealous. Do not mock someone's downfall, or Omoteje will come for you." Children avoided the old road that led to the evil forest. Young women rushed past the abandoned market store where her salon once stood, because sometimes, if the wind blew at the right angle, mirrors inside the shop clinked and rearranged themselves. But one thing no one expected was this. The curse did not vanish with Omoteje. It spread. Silently. Slowly. Like scentless smoke. 3 months passed. Life almost returned to normal. Until the night the mirrors in Omoteje's abandoned salon began glowing. A meat seller named Ejiro was returning home late when she saw light in the locked shop. At first she thought it was thieves, but when she peeped through the window, her heart nearly stopped. All the mirrors were floating in the air, each one spinning gently like spirits dancing in a circle. And in the reflection of the center mirror, where nothing stood, Ejiro saw a figure with long black hair and glowing blue eyes. She screamed and ran until she fainted by the chief's palace. When the villagers gathered the next morning, the mirrors were back on the wall, but one thing had changed. The salon was open again, even though the doors were locked, and no human hand had touched it. The village woke to a shocking announcement from the market criers. A new hairdresser has arrived. She is renting the old shop. She will open next week. Her name was Aria, a young light-skinned woman with slim waist, long curly hair, glossy lips, and a figure that made the village boys swallow saliva like they were drinking Gary without water. She said she came from the city. Her English was polished, her confidence bold, her smile captivating. But something was wrong. Her shadow didn't always fall in the right direction. Her footprints in sand disappeared too quickly. And her eyes, when she blinked too slowly, looked strangely familiar. The first girl to enter Aria's salon was Isiosa, a TikTok-loving slay queen who had just returned from Benin City. She wanted a frontal wig installed. The moment Aria touched her hair, Isiosa felt a cold shiver run down her spine. She laughed it off. "Now I see they blow me," she said, forgetting that the salon had no electricity connected. When she looked into the mirror, she froze. Her reflection was smiling widely, but Isiosa herself wasn't smiling. She blinked. The reflection did not blink. Isiosa jumped from her seat, breathing hard. Aria smiled calmly. "You are nervous. Sit. Let me finish your hair." Something in her voice made Isiosa sit back down, even though her soul screamed. "Run. Run now. Run." When she finally got home with her hair looking perfect, too perfect, she couldn't stop staring at herself in the mirror. At midnight, Isiosa began to hear whispers. "Beautiful. Let me in. Let me in." By morning, Isiosa was found talking to herself, pulling her own hair violently, eyes blank and lost. She was the first. Word spread quickly. "That new stylist is too good. Her hairstyles are heavenly. The wigs last longer than the one in Lagos. You go fine like celebrity." And once again, girls rushed the salon like ants rushing sugar. On Friday evenings the queue stretched down the road, babes in bomb shorts, leggings, designer slippers, and glowing makeup. They snapped pictures at the door, about to get slayed. None of them noticed that the posters on the wall showed hairstyles of women who once lived in the village before they died mysteriously. None noticed the faint blue light that flickered around Aria's hands whenever she braided hair. None noticed that Aria never drank water, never ate, never left the salon at night. But the curse noticed. And the curse fed. One by one, girls fell ill. Some screamed in their sleep. Some woke up with patches of hair missing. Some collapsed in church. Some wandered around at night calling their own names as if searching for their spirits. But still, the salon was too irresistible. Beauty is sweeter than fear. Then came Euphoma, a 19-year-old barber who worked across the street. He noticed something strange. Every night around 2 a.m., the salon lights came on, even though Aria always claimed she was sleeping at home. One night, he hid behind his shop. What he witnessed nearly made him flee the village entirely. Aria walked into the salon. But she wasn't alone. A second figure, transparent and glowing blue, followed her. And the second figure had Omoteje's face. Euphoma watched as the ghostly figure touched the mirrors. The mirrors came alive. Reflections shifted into screaming faces, the faces of the girls who had fallen sick. Aria wasn't alone. She wasn't even human. She was simply a vessel. A shell. And Omoteje, the spirit, had returned through her. Euphoma told the elders what he saw. They trembled. The same elders who wrongly judged and buried Omoteje alive years ago. Guilt choked them. "We must cleanse the village," they said. But there was a problem. Every time they approached the salon, the door opened by itself. And a cold wind pushed them back. They tried to burn the shop. The fire refused to catch. They tried to lock it. The key broke. They tried prayers. Their voices trembled before they even began. Omoteje's spirit had unfinished business. One night, Euphoma gathered courage and entered the salon alone. He stood before the largest mirror. The glass fogged as if someone breathed on it from the other side. Then slowly, words appeared. I was innocent. Then, they buried me alive. Then, my beauty was my crime. Euphoma whispered, trembling. What do you want? The mirror shattered instantly, but no shard touched him. Then the spirit formed behind him, tall, elegant, hair flowing like water, eyes glowing blue. Omoteje. She spoke without moving her lips. I want justice. Not just revenge. Justice. But before Euphoma could ask how, she vanished. Things grew worse. The cause spread beyond the salon. Girls who had never entered it began falling sick. Women who had gossiped about Omoteje years ago began seeing shadows behind them. Even the trees near the salon dried up. At the center of it all was one object. The wooden bowl containing the names of those who betrayed her. The bowl still remained in the salon, not burned, not broken, not touched by time. A powerful object. A vessel of pain. And as long as the bowl existed, so would the curse. Everything came to a climax when Euphoma, armed with courage and a burning lamp, entered the salon again. This time, Omoteje appeared fully, standing beside the possessed area. Euphoma knelt. I knew you were wrong. The village did you evil. But innocent people are dying now. What should we do? Omoteje walked around him silently, her voice echoing like wind in a cave. Break the bowl. Euphoma swallowed hard. What will happen if I break it? Everything will end. The answer was too vague. End how? The curse. Or the village. Or his own life. Still, with trembling hands, he smashed the bowl on the floor. A scream, loud, piercing, painful, exploded from the walls. The mirrors shattered. The ground shook. Area collapsed, unconscious but finally free. Blue flames rose like angry spirits. Then, silence. When the smoke cleared, Omoteje was gone. For the first time in years. Truly gone. From that night, the curse ended. Girls regained their health. Women stopped hearing whispers. The mirrors stopped glowing. But the salon remained permanently empty. Locked. Cold. Feared. And no one, not even the bravest man, ever dared enter. But villagers still whisper. If you walk past the salon at midnight and the moon is full, sometimes, just sometimes, you will see a faint blue glow in the largest mirror. Not dangerous. Not vengeful. Just watching. As if Omoteje is asking, will you bury another innocent again? The end.